Danny Flexent here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by Matchroom CEO Frank Smith. Wearing the same colour shirt on a sweltering night in Abu Dhabi. What are we thinking, Frank?
I don't know, but I'm glad my back's facing the other way. But good to be here. Abu Dhabi, beautiful time of the year to be in Abu Dhabi, and looking forward to the first of many here with Geordie against Bivol on Saturday night.
Is there any danger, and I asked Darren Barker this earlier, that Bivol, coming off that big win over Canelo, might not underestimate Ramirez, but maybe struggle to get up for it as much as he did for Canelo?
I honestly don't think so, because I think it's an exciting fight for him. It's a fight that's been spoken about for a long time, the Ramirez fight. You know, I think he's been mandatory for a while, it's a fight he's been looking at for a while. It's not something that, you know, has just come out of the blue. And also I think being here in Abu Dhabi as well makes a bit of a difference as well. Adds that big fight feeling. It's exciting. He's been training here for quite a while now, and look, I think he's ready to go. I think Dimitri's the kind of person for these big nights gets up for it, and I think you're going to see another great performance from him on Saturday night.
And if he does come through against Geordie, does he then go on to that Canelo rematch that we've wanted for so long? I think Canelo says he wants it too.
Yeah, look, I think the Canelo rematch is a huge fight. You know, maybe that's something we can see next May. You know, he's focused as well on the Beterbiev fight. You know, Beterbiev has obviously got to fight Anthony Yarde end of January, but, you know, Dimitri wants to become undisputed champion as well. So that's something we'll be targeting as well. But, you know, Canelo fight's definitely the biggest fight out there. But, yeah, let's see how things play out.
And then you've got Rakhimov defending against Barrett. He's come in, of course, not at particularly short notice, but came in for Joe Cordina. What do we make of that fight? It seems like a huge leap up for Zelfa, but nothing to lose, in theory.
Yeah, look, I think that Zelfa had to take his opportunity. You know, he was IBF number 1 or 2. I think he was ranked number 2 behind Rakhimov, or, you know, just behind him in the rankings. Would have been mandatory in time. He's built his way into this position. I think he had to take the chance while it was there. You know, great fight. Rakhimov's obviously a brilliant fighter. But the winner of that on Saturday night will go on and fight Joe Cordina next as well. So, you know, it's a big opportunity for Zelfa Barrett, and I don't think he could have turned it down. I think he made the right decision. Don't get me wrong, not shying away from how tough of a fight it is, but, you know, we've seen some great performances from Zelfa, and I think we'll see a very good Zelfa on Saturday. He's been training for a long time. He was training for a fight already in November, so, you know, it wasn't like it was. Although he had 5-6 weeks, he's always in the gym. He's a real professional, Zelfa. So, you know, I don't think there's any excuses there.
Just looking a bit further ahead, I think we were kind of looking forward to seeing Anthony Joshua return in December. That's now looking like 2023. Just give us an idea of why that decision was made ultimately.
Yeah, look, we were focusing on a date, December 17th for Anthony. Hasn't worked out, hasn't played out completely as we wanted, and now we focus on February, March. The key is, once he's up and running, the key is keeping him active after that. You know, he wants to get back in the ring, he wants to keep busy, and he wants big fights. You know, February we're just working through the opponents now. Aim to announce something towards the end of this month.
And someone who is going to be active, albeit against someone he's beaten twice, is Tyson Fury. He got a bit of stick for that on a podcast earlier this week, True Geordie, and unleashed a foul-mouthed tirade of abuse in the presenter's direction. What did you make of that? Amusing, or do you think maybe he went too far?
To be honest, I've honestly seen about 15 seconds of it. I haven't actually listened to the podcast, what he said, etc. So I saw like 15 seconds. I think maybe he's just trying to stay a bit relevant because he needs to sell some tickets.
What do you think of that fight? I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be Joshua because those talks broke down, but given the short space of time, is Chisora acceptable, or would you have liked to have seen someone a bit more credible?
I don't think Chisora's not credible at all. You know, you only have to look at what Dereck's done over the years. You know, he fought Alexander Usyk not too long ago. He fought Joseph Parker twice after that, and he just beat Kubrat Pulev. You know, there's not a huge range of heavyweights out there. At the same time, would a fight against Joe Joyce or Daniel Dubois have been more interesting, who are both all under the same stable? Probably. You know, so, but look, the one thing about Dereck, he's always entertaining, both inside and outside the ring. So, you know, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm surprised they did it outdoors though in December. Have to take your jackets.
Yeah, it's a world away from where we are now. Obviously, the Conor Benn situation's drawn a lot of headlines, a lot of negative coverage, unfortunately. Give us an idea of what sort of toll that's taken on you guys at Matchroom, and you as well personally.
Look, I mean, ultimately it's been a tough time for the sport. It's if we look back on it now, could things have happened differently? Maybe, but it's quite easy to look at it that way and say, could this have happened? Could we have done this? Could we have done this? Ultimately, we have to now focus on moving forward, keep building the sport of boxing. So much in boxing you get held up on, and people call you back on it on things that have happened. Conor's keep getting asked questions about what's going on with Conor, what's going on with this, and I would love to answer all the questions. I'd love to have all of the information, but we don't have it all, and we can't talk about it all. So it's kind of like we just get stuck in this roundabout of going back and forward with the same answers, and everyone says, well, you're just avoiding the answer. But a lot of it is detail that Conor and his legal team are working through currently, and as soon as all the info can be released, it will be. For me, it's been mad couple of weeks, obviously, but boxing has its hard times. You can't have the good times without the bad times, and this was a bad time. And now we focus on moving forward, answering the questions as best we can, but focus on moving forward and what we've got that's exciting and good coming forward. Because otherwise, if we focus so much on the bad, we can't actually build up to what's good about the sport. Like I say, it wasn't a great few weeks, but we are where we are now, and we have to move forward.
How challenging is it to be there for Conor and support him as your fighter? You've got that role, but also not overcommit, because you don't know what the final conclusions are going to be, and you don't want to be left looking foolish.
Look, I think you've also got the balance of the relationship we have as well. Conor Benn's a friend as well as a client. He's a friend. We've worked with him for 6 or 7 years, and he's grown up around us. So as much as there's the business side, the client side, you've also got the friend side as well. And I don't want to see anything bad happen to Conor Benn. Also you've got to think he's a 26-year-old, 25-year-old guy who's going through a very tough time. And people have to remember that as well. And again, I've said it a million times. I think people can judge amongst the facts they know now, but you have to have a full conclusion, you have to know everything. You have to see everything. And right now, that's not out there, it's not able to be seen. So all I'd say is give it time. And then if you have the same opinion of Conor Benn, then that's your opinion, with all the facts. But look, we go around in circles with these things. My focus is, as long as it's a mentally draining and tough time for him. And, we'll always be there to support him, to make sure, he's mentally in a good place, because that's the most important thing.
You said there we haven't seen anything, the journalists, of course. Have you personally seen everything at this point?
Not everything, no. I mean, look, as I say, we promote Conor Benn, but he has his own independent... This is a case for Conor Benn to fight. He has his own independent legal team, own group of science, people who are specialists within this field, who know much more about it than me. I've seen a number of things which, help me understand part of the picture, and they have even more than I do. He's working, like I say, it's something he's working through personally.
From what you do know, and I don't expect you to share any of it with us, what is your personal view on the subject, or on Conor himself? Because as you said, you've known him for 7 years, you've seen more of the facts than the media have. What's your view on what's going to take place now? How's it going to unfold?
I mean, it unfolds by him going through this process that we talk about, in terms of him, presenting his position with the test, with the results. It's, again, I will say something and people will go, because everyone's predetermined their opinion on the situation. From what I have seen, I would say there's a lot more still for people to understand. And I'm not going to go into detail, it's this, it's that, it's the other, because it's not my place, But I think, as I keep going back to, people have to give him the chance.
Is there a case where it could be a difference between what's technically true, so, technically culpable, not culpable, and what's morally true? So, if something's happened by accident or unintentionally, you might still be liable for it, but most people would judge you favourably.
Yeah, of course, but that's the whole piece, isn't it? There's the moral piece that's being fought out now, the public perception piece. is being fought out before the actual technicality and facts of it. That's the whole thing. All we've seen playing out is the public perception, nothing else. And that's what everyone's been focused on. So that essentially, in people's minds, is a bigger piece than the actual facts. So, look, again, we can talk about it for days and days and days. We just have to let the situation play out.
What are you looking forward to most fight-wise before the end of this year? We know Dillian White's coming back against Jermaine Franklin. That's a good card, but there's other stuff going on as well. Which fight beyond this weekend are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, great card, November 26th. And undercard as well, Wardley against Gorman. Craig Richards against Spider. Craig Richards against himself, Bolotniks. I'm actually really interested in Josh Warrington, his fight against Lopez. Mandatory. People don't know much about Lopez, but he's a real tough test. And I think we're going to see a great fight on December 10th.
Great stuff, Frank. Always a pleasure.
Estrada Chocolatito.
Let's not forget that. A trilogy that people really want to see.
The real trilogy. So, yeah, that's a very exciting end to the year.
Great stuff. Cheers, mate.